And that's a complicated one. I think that
They shouldn't.
was the David Duke one is a challenging one because as I mean, it would be very difficult to blame a black or a white person who is, really opposed to racism for celebrating the demise of a notorious white supremacist. Like I can understand that. I I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that one. I think it's you know what, anytime you have something, you're going to have these border cases that are very complicated, difficult. I don't have a good answer. I would say personally, I don't think I think it's bad to celebrate the death even of a David Duke. I can see celebrating somebody's death who was like a notorious torturer and rapist, like Ted Bundy, for example, that people would experience some kind of glee at his demise, and I mean, defunct as it were. Okay, I understand
I mean,
that.
I would say that the healthy response would be to
Some kind
celebrate.
of, yeah, yeah, I agree with you.
But I would go on to argue that the distinction between Ted Bundy and some really controversial political figure is less clear than you're suggesting. I'm not saying that it's like
I
political
would make, I
extremists are
make
in
it
the same category of murderers, but
right.
that there's no sharp distinction to be made. I mean, for example, you could imagine why an Iraqi American whose family were killed in the invasion would celebrate the death of George Bush if he were assassinated.
Yes, I do. I see the point, and I agree with you. I suppose I would say in practice, nature rarely comes with bright lines. In practice, it's useful or even necessary to draw them. I would draw them at controversial speech and actual physical torture or murder, right? I would just say, like, there is a qualitative difference between David Duke and Ted Bundy. Although you could press me on that, obviously, and you could say, well, like David Duke's speech led to this, which
No,
led to this. I'm like,
I
it's
would be
complicated.
inclined to agree with that. Though I think the distinction between a politician that orders
No, I agree.
unjust
Yeah,
wars and
yeah,
Ted Bundy is not so different. It's
yeah. No,
not
I
so
agree.
clear.
I totally agree with that. And that, I mean, that's sort of like another conversation because it's not so much about cancel culture as it is about the more the morality of a president who makes an immoral order or something or a leader. So yeah, that's I agree with you though. That gets difficult.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but so my view is really that like people should be free to respond emotionally to the deaths of other people as they want. They should if someone was screaming in the family of Charlie Kirk's face, they certainly should be punished. If someone is just expressing an opinion I consider very distasteful, no, I don't think they should necessarily face consequences.
Okay, so
Just
I think y-
because
people should
everyone
be
finds different things distasteful, and you can argue that we have a hidden social norm according to which certain things are objectively more distasteful, but I really don't think it's possible to say which things are and which things aren't distasteful. I mean, as the example of the Muslims who find just depictions of their prophet really distasteful illustrates.
I think you're right about that, but I don't see that as reason to accept a sort of like anarchical freedom about it. So to take a different example, we all have different notions of what counts as disgusting display of flesh.
Yeah.
Maybe I think a bathing suit is disgusting and shouldn't be worn even at the beach. And maybe you think, I don't care if people walk around naked. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I know people who don't care about that, right? Nevertheless, what we would say is, well, we have some social agreement, more or less. Some people disagree, and privately they can walk around nude, or they can join a commune of nudists. But across the United States, we have expectations that are actually literally legally enforced in this case, right? Like, various kinds of clothing obligations. And I'm fine with that. That's
Yeah, but
okay.
wouldn't the analogy be you would presumably be okay with a social media platform allowing people to post pictures of themselves in the nude, and also one allowing people to censor such photographs.
Yes, but then
Without anyone involved in this fearing for their livelihood.
well, wouldn't the further analogy be, suppose that you did take advantage of OnlyFans or some other kind of website like that, and you're the CEO at Walmart, or you're a K through 12 teacher, you will be punished for that. In fact, you would be fired in many cases. So yeah, you're allowed to participate in that, and should we shut down OnlyFans? Tempt me? Maybe I would say yes. I don't know. Complicated issue. But let's just say I'm accepting, look, it's not illegal. Yes, you can participate in it. You would be fired from many jobs for doing so.
You mean for posting nude photos of yourself?
For posting pornographic videos of yourself. Because we have an expectation that, say, a K through 12 teacher is not going to engage in public behavior like that. And that again is the problem here, because if we knew, do we treat this as private or public, it would be much easier. If we're talking about private, to take your example of this, I don't think it's a great idea, but I don't really care if somebody makes private porn and shares it, if they share it with each other privately. Once it becomes public, then it becomes a matter of public moral interest. And it's, in my view, I understand the libertarian instinct to say, well, you shouldn't pay attention, pay attention to your own behavior and what physically hurts other people. I don't think a society can flourish that way. And I think we're going to have certain shared norms and expectations. Not that we will all agree with them, but we will understand them, adhere to them, accept punishment if we deviate from them, and if we disagree strongly enough, we'll attempt to change them.
To watch the full interview or to listen to it as an audio podcast, become a subscriber at aporiamagazine.com.